oil and gas expert Nick Agule joining us live in the studio. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Well, very exciting. I mean, just, seeing that report and, hearing how much of a game changer it would be to the Nigerian economy. And from your perspective, how excited are you about this? And what do you think it will do to the Nigerian economy as a whole?
I'm very excited because Nigeria is actually a gas nation. We are blessed with more gas reserves or resources than even crude oil. And gas has remained untapped in Nigeria for a long time. And gas has more uses than even crude oil. And you will realize that in other places in the world, every home, every building is piped with gas. People don't buy gas in cylinders. So
Pipes.
Yes, it's piped right from the point of production. So when you go into your kitchen and you switch on your cooker, you're actually switching on gas that is coming all the way from Niger Delta into that kitchen through pipes. So for instance, here in Abuja, they will land it with big pipelines and then begin to distribute it with smaller pipelines until they get to specific buildings and they run lines into all of those places. So just imagine that if Nigeria were to do something like that, in terms of the construction, that is going to be a big boost to the economy and the creation of jobs. Then in terms of running the system to ensure that gas is available 24/7 in all of the buildings in Nigeria, I mean, you can only imagine the impact that's going to have on our economy. And, it's only very recently that we started to hear about CNG. Nigeria could actually be on gas in our vehicles. And if we actually had that strategy right, we could have been running on gas in our vehicles and exporting all of our refined crude oil.
Just watching, sorry to cut you there, just watching and listening to you, it brings back the anger and disappointment in many Nigerians who are of the opinion that we have no business being poor or in this situation. Because looking at the AKK project alone, Ajokuta, Kaduna, Kano, and look at the axis and how that can also benefit the capital, which is Abuja. 2024, how feasible, because the excitement must be sustained, how feasible is that date? I know you're not one of the teams, but again, looking at the dynamics of what's been explained so far, is that a possibility?
Well, like you rightly said, I'm not a member of the project team, but if you look at history in Nigeria, I would have been more confident to say that this is a feasible delivery date if this project was being run by either a consortium of gas operators, indigenous and foreign. But when it comes to government-run enterprises, I'm not a fan of government getting into businesses like this because you keep hearing of the deadlines shifting, the goalposts shifting, because governments all over the world, it's not only just in Nigeria, governments all over the world are not good businessmen. So, I can't say, but I hope it actually happens, but I would have actually preferred that for a big project like this, just as we did in the NLNG, Nigerian government should have ceded this project to, private operators to run for us.
Right. Of course, I'd like to ask you about how excited you are equally about the fact that Nigeria's oil production, daily output has gone up, to about 1.3 million barrels per day. Yeah.
Well, what do you think happened there?
Yes.
What happened?
What have we done right?
Okay, so there are a couple of factors that affect oil production. First of all, crude oil is in the ground, it's in the reserves, and bringing it up into the surface, bringing it up to the surface in terms of production is impacted by several things. It could be even pipeline shut down. So if you look at the Niger Delta, on the eastern side of the Niger Delta, you have a big pipeline that is running towards the Bonny terminal, where the operators in that axis, they produce and inject in that same pipeline, and it goes to Bonny terminal. On the western side of the Niger Delta, you've got another big pipeline going into the Forcados terminal. Any little thing with that pipeline is going to short production by all the operators who are injecting into it.
Right.
Yes, because no matter how small, if it's a leak, the pipeline has to be shut down.
So what you're saying is that we're successfully plugging those loopholes.
Yes, so the kind of things that are doing is that I'm not very specific in terms of what has caused this, but it could be pipeline availability, it could be bringing on stream new wells, it could be opening, fields, production platforms that were closed down before. It could be improvement in security, because sometimes, insecurity causes the way companies to shut down production and all of that. But I mean, let's look at it. This country produced 2 million barrels of crude oil before. I worked for Shell in Nigeria, and Shell alone used to produce 1 million+ barrels of crude oil in Nigeria. And today we are in euphoria that is 1.3 million. Well, it's an improvement, but we're far from where we used to be. Yeah. And I think it's better we get back to where we used to be.
Great, and that's a good place.
Yeah. It's a fine place for us to leave it. I'd like to thank you for your time.